Right. So hopefully I've got everything right this time. I forgot to put the microphone on and the light for recording, so I'm waffling away, and then it realised like after 10 minutes of waffling away. So anyway, you don't know that because you wouldn't have seen that, but this is something I've been looking forward to. I've been waiting for this book to come out for ages. Um, it's a comic that I never really got into back in the mid 80s because at the time I'd really shifted over to American comics. The only British comic I was getting was 2000 AD. And at the time I was like really, I was about 14, 15, so I was really exploring what my tastes were. So I got into weird things like underground comics like Fabulous Fairy Freak Brothers, got into a lot of the American independent stuff, and became a huge X-Men fan, especially New Mutants fan and Legion of Superheroes, and then things like that, and then Swamp Thing before it became Vertigo, and Warrior magazine. So this I'd never really picked up on because I thought, oh, it's just for kids. Because when you're 14 or 15, you don't want anything associated with kids. But it wasn't. It was done by the same team who did 2000 AD. A lot of the same creative teams worked behind the scenes. There's different editor, etc. The editor on this one was called Ghastly McNasty. So like 2000 AD had Tharg, Scream had Ghastly McNasty. So this is basically like the horror version of 2000 AD. It first came out in 24th of March 1984, only around 15 issues. Unlike Action, which was cancelled because of the public outcry because of the violence, this was actually cancelled by the publishers themselves. And what they did around this time, there's a big printers strike, and unions were involved and things like that. And so the publishers used that as an excuse to quietly cancel this book, quietly cancel this comic because they thought it was they thought it wasn't suitable for the audience that they were being pushed out of. It was basically Britain's version of EC, I guess. So it only ran 15 issues and then it disappeared. But it's had a lot of impact of people of my generation. They remember it fondly. The single issues themselves go for a hell of a lot of money. And yeah, it's just great. Like I said, the editor's called Ghastly McNasty. And what they've done with it's a gorgeous oversized archival, nice silver and printing on it. What they've done, they've itemised every strip, who the writer is, who the artist is, who the letterer is, if they're listed, if they can remember who they are. And instead of just doing the strips in clumps so you get the whole strip, they've done it issue by issue. So it's as if you're reading the comic as it came out every week. So they've got the covers as well. The covers are just magnificent. And so the strips, what you had, one that was a really big one, which had gorgeous art by Eric Bradbury, written by Jerry Finley-Day, who created Rogue Trooper. There's the Dracula File, which you can get a collection of as well if you just want that story. Eric Bradbury is a very, very underrated British artist, very atmospheric. So as I said, this came out weekly, so each strip was on average between 4 to 5 to 6 pages each. And then another strip, what got a lot of attention, was one called Monster, which has amazing art by Heinzel, and Alan Moore did the initial story for it. I've not actually read these yet. I want to put some time aside to read, so I might give a review of it as well. This is just like an overview. The paper is really, really high quality. I ordered this from Amazon. It sold out on Rebellion's website, their own website, because you could get a slipcase version as well. It is £45 recommended retail price. I got it from Amazon for £31, but now it's sold out on Amazon as well, so there's a huge demand for it. But I do recommend, if you can find it, do pick it up. Another strip, what was way before its time, was the 13th Floor, which was basically about this computer who ran this building block, and this was written by Ian Holland. A lot of the writers were pseudonyms because sometimes there's one or two writers like John Wagner, Alan Grant doing them, so they just made up new names for the writers. But the artwork on this is amazing. It's Jose Ortiz, European artist, did a lot of stuff for heavy metal and other distinguished magazines. And this is like their version of EC, Tales from the Grave, The Undertaker. Jim Watson on artwork on this one, really nice art style. So it's done issue by issue. Then they did one-off stories like A Ghastly Tale, which is like a one-page shocker. And they also had a humour strip in each week. I think they always did that in British comics for some reason. This was Fiends and Neighbours, which I think was a reprint of a strip from the 60s and 70s. And then they also had a really fun strip. I've glanced through and I've read a few of the strips and they are fun. One shot's called Library of Death, which I guess is a bit like Farg's Future Shocks, but it's like the horror version. But yeah, I mean, the writers they had Alan Moore, John Wagner on it, and others like I said, Jerry Finlay, and some of the artists, so some of the real top cream of artists. Jorge Ortiz, Steve Dillon, I'll show you that strip, and Cam Kennedy, who did the Light of Darkness War. He did the Dark Horse original Star Wars series, the first Star Wars comics from Dark Horse. And he was also a huge Judge Dredd artist for a long, long time. Really nice, distinctive style. That's another one of the covers. So like I said, all 15 issues are in here. They've got all the full listings of who the creative teams are. And I just love that fact that you can just read it in that order as if you're getting it weekly. I just want to... This was another strip that was quite popular. Terror of the Cats. So it's kind of like the birds but with cats instead. Some more of the coloured pages. But I've just got to say, I think my favourite art is the Dracula Files. I just love the atmosphere of those. But again, 13th floor as well. Now the 13th floor and the Dracula Files and Monster carried over to Eagle because Scream got folded into Eagle. So you can get collections. Monster's completely sold out, forget about that. But you can get the 13th floor and you can get Dracula Files. It's just, I'm just looking at it and it's just so gorgeous. Some more of Monster. The binding, I think it's a stitch binding. There's quite a good eye to it as well. The paper is extreme, unlike, say, for example, Marvel or DC's omnibuses. The paper is extremely high quality. You can't see through it. It's just a whole completely different level of quality. But yeah, they do like what I do like about this. They do one and done strips as well. So they have only like 4 ongoing stories, and the rest were like one shot stories. You know, cheap, cheerful shocks. Here we go. This is what I wanted to show you. Like for example, this is another Library of Death, and it's called Beware the Werewolf. So it's got Simon Fairman, who writing it, who did the UK Transformers, and artwork by Steve Dillon. Just show you some more colour pages. I'm really kicking myself for not having bought the comics when they first came out. Like I said, I was very pretentious as a teenager, so this would have been viewed as beneath me. Now I absolutely live for this type of stuff because I've got no pretension. Here we go. Just that cover is just wonderful. So you can tell they were very heavily influenced by EC, old Universal monster movies. So it's that kind of horror. There's nothing really scary in it at all, but it's just fun horror. If you like stuff like Hammer Horror, Tygon, Amicus, Universal Monsters, EC, creepy and eerie strips like that, then you'll like this. But it's all done with an English sensibility as well. And what I really appreciate with this, it's not just got the comics inside. There's a lot of back matter in it as well, so it gives you some sketches, what they did, layouts. It also, so there's a page of a strip, what wasn't used. It also, if I can find it, yeah, in-house adverts, which I find really fun, because adverts from that period aged so badly. And they had great. I remember the issue 1 when it came out. It did have Dracula teeth, what you could put in. They always made your gums bleed because they were like just cheap, nasty plastic. What they'd never be able to sell nowadays. So yeah, these are some more of the in-house adverts. Some gallery of of Ghastly Mac Grimley, whatever he's called. And there was even a game that you could play. It's just a real fun trip down nostalgia lane. But unlike some old comics that don't age very well, this is pretty timeless. It's like a snapshot of the 80s, but they're still fun to read. Some stuff from the 80s, like, for example, just plucking one out of the air, Speedball from Marvel, has aged really badly. It doesn't read very well. It's fun to read. Sadly, some of the strips aren't complete because, like I said, it got cancelled in issue 15 and it got folded into Eagle. I'd have liked them to have the other strip. That's my only gripe of this. I'd have liked them to include the complete, maybe some of those strips in as well. Maybe they'll do a compilation of the Eagle strips because there's some good stuff in Eagle, like Doom Lord, Eagle's the 80s version of Dan Dare, not the stuff that was in 2000 AD. But yeah, it's paper is very high quality. The book is so sturdy. It's bigger than an American comic size. I'll show you. So there's an American comic. So it's wider and it's taller. You get how many pages? You get about 460 pages inside. Like I said, recommended retail price £45, but you can get it cheaper if you find it in stock. It's sold out like hotcakes. I was surprised I was able to get hold of this. I'm pleased I have. It's one of my favourite buys of the year so far. Like I said, not read it yet, so when I do read it, I must do another video just giving my full feelings and opinions of each strip, what's reflected in here and collected in here. So yeah, that's Scream. If you're a fan of 2000 AD, if you're a fan of comics history, if you're a fan of UK comics history, I recommend scoping this out. If you can't afford this, I do recommend getting the collections that they've got some classic British strips like Black Max, which was from Lion, I think. You can get, I think there's 4 volumes of the 13th Floor. Monster, look on eBay for, and the Dracula Files, it's just a one and done cheap graphic novel. But the only thing I will give as a word of warning, once you start investigating British comics, it's a very addictive hole to go down. Like my next one I want to get is some of the old line strips like Robot Archie, Adam Eterno, and I will do like overviews of them when I get those. So yeah, I would give this, for the whole presentation and layout, 10 out of 10. It's a pretty damn perfect book, from the colour schemes, from the design, from how they've got the comics going in chronological order, where the stories aren't clumped together. You just read each issue as if it came out initially. From the colour production, from listing order creators, from the binding, 10 out of 10, perfect collection. So yeah, this gets Mandy's seal of approval, and yeah, go and buy it if you like comics history of a UK nature. Okay, bye.